What up, y'all? We are finally back with another episode of Meet the Locals. But first, a message from our sponsors. Yeah, we're doing those, sorry, but here it is. Are you ready to turn your house into a home that you actually love? Look no further with Mile High Renovations. Whether you're dreaming of a minor facelift or a full-on makeover, Mile High Renovations has got you covered, and without breaking the bank. So why wait? Visit their website today to schedule your free estimate, and let's make your house as cozy as your favorite pair of sweatpants. Because everyone deserves to feel at home, especially you.
Welcome back to another episode of Meet the Locals with Daily Dose 719. We are in our new home. Oh my gosh, this is the first time we're shooting in Stomping Grounds. Super excited to be here. I am joined by a local legend. Super exciting to have Raquel Rocky Pennington here with us today. How are you?
I'm doing good. Looks like you're super excited.
I am super excited to have you. I was just saying I recently got into like boxing and UFC.
Okay.
So now being able to sit down and talk to you is actually pretty exciting for me. And you're from the Springs, so.
I am born and raised.
Yeah. I read you went to Harrison down in District 2.
I did.
How is that coming up?
I loved it. My whole family, they're from, my mom's side of the family's from La Junta, Colorado.
Okay.
They moved here when she was 11. And then my mom, my Nina, my uncle, all my cousins, to myself, my brother, we all went to Harrison, so.
Awesome.
Panther Pride.
Panther Pride. I'm a D11 graduate, but we won't get into that.
Oh, where at?
I went to Mitchell, actually. I graduated from Mitchell High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my best friends went there, so.
Oh, good.
All
I'll
right.
take it. Semi-mighty Marauders. Oh, well, yeah, we won't put that in there. So I was reading in preparation for this interview that you were a multi-athlete or multi-sport athlete in high school, and then you had an injury and you took some time off. So I was wondering if you would like to share a little bit about that injury and what recovery was like, and then moving into your career.
Yes, I grew up being an athlete. I've been in athletics since I was 5 years old. And then from there, I mean, I've done every sport you can think of. My passion was basketball and softball. I enjoyed volleyball too, but I didn't like the small spandex. So then, my senior year, I had some athletic scholarships to college for basketball and softball. And then I ended up breaking my back, kind of just changed everything. I stayed here. I took a academic scholarship to UCCS. I was doing rehab. Honestly, I got a little depressed. I mean, I didn't feel like myself. I was in a back brace for a long time. I was still living at home, and my room was in the basement, and I had to like move upstairs. It changed the whole dynamic for me. So I'm pretty strong-willed and a little stubborn. There was a couple times I tried to force myself to go downstairs to my room and just hang out, tumble down the stairs. So I injured myself even more. And then one day, I was going when Bally's Total Fitness was still a thing. My mom and I were there one night. We were training, just kind of working out. And the first team I started with, they were in the back yoga studio. It just looked intense. They were on those little 1/4-inch mats. They're doing judo. They're choking each other out. Like, I had no clue what it was. I've never seen it. And then I told my mom, I was like, hey, I'm going to go do that. And I think she just thought it'd be something good to get me going again. We went and talked to the coach, and then he explained that it's MMA, explained what it's about. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Came in the next day. My very first training session ever was sparring. Had no clue what I was doing, and then I absolutely fell in love, and here we are.
Yeah. So it was definitely, reading on your career, it seems like you've actually spent a lot of the time being pretty dominant in your avenue. So is it something that like took you by surprise, or did you feel like you were going to be good at it going into it, or?
So I grew up being a huge tomboy. The guys in the neighborhood, they called me Rocco McDaniel. I would play tackle football in the cul-de-sac between my Nina's house and my Nana's house. I grew up with all my guy cousins. We were constantly fighting. At the age of, I think it was like 11 or 12, my best friend at the time, her dad was a boxer, and then her brothers were boxers. So we went to some boxing matches. I asked my parents if I could fight, and they were like, you're too pretty and your teeth are too nice. No. So like a part of me kind of always wanted, I don't know, just being that tomboy. Part of me wanted to like explore into, you know, the boxing avenue, but it wasn't something for women. And then with the sport, I mean, I'm just a person. I love adrenaline. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love challenges. And with going into the first session ever being sparring, I mean, that's one of the most challenging things you could do. So I think that's what really got me hooked, and I fell in love. I didn't realize I'd be as good as I am at it. I don't know, but it's kind of one of those things where what you set your mind to, I mean, you can conquer things.
Yeah. So then would you say that your career has taught you a lot of things that you can carry over into your personal life?
Absolutely. My career, I mean, it's a unique lifestyle. You know, I mean, it's taught me a lot of discipline. You know, it's built confidence in a completely different way. It's given me a platform to where I could speak to lots of individuals all over the world. Kids are the ones that completely melt my heart. So being able to reach out and have that platform, you know, and then just, I don't know, I guess the discipline part, there's so many ups and downs. I feel like MMA it has the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And kind of just learning how to navigate through that. It really challenges you, especially when you're in one of the highest places and then you fall, and being vulnerable to the world and having to figure out how to dig yourself out of that. Plus, you know, we're our biggest critics. So there's just a lot of things that kind of, I feel like as a person, it's just really helped me to like mature, just to navigate through things, to be able to like talk to other individuals, pass on qualities. I've been a coach, and so coaching softball, basketball, gymnastics, doing all the different things, like I've been able to pass on like some qualities to the younger athletes, and then of course becoming a mom, that brings a whole different aspect to it. So
yeah, that's super awesome. I'm a new mom myself too. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
Really excited to talk about that in a little bit. But you mentioned talking about going through highs and lows. What would you say was like one of the toughest points in your career?
There's been a lot. You know, I started in the sport 14 years ago, and it wasn't really a thing for women. So, you know, coming into a male-dominant sport, you had to sit there and navigate through a ton of negativity. Nobody believed in me. Everybody sat there and doubted me. You know, being a female and coming out, I mean, you had people just constantly talking crap to you. Like, it wasn't exactly fun, but it was also motivating. And just kind of getting through that challenge, building opportunities, finding opportunities. You know, I mean, in 2013 was the first time that UFC finally announced that they were going to allow women and give us a bigger platform. But before that, it was Invicta Fighting Championships. And the president of that, Shannon Knapp, she's just somebody who, you know, she wanted to see women succeed and do things, so she gave us a platform. But, you know, trying to navigate through that, like I said, being vulnerable to the world, you know, just like any other sport, you have people who are 1 minute they're on your team, the next minute they're not. And social media can be evil. And, you know, they sit there and they talk crap. I've been in some fights. My first world title fight, there was a lot that happened behind the scenes that people don't even realize, but they seen the performance and the way they attacked me. They attacked my coaches. There was death threats. Like, I mean, it goes all different directions. It's something we could talk about all day.
Yeah. And I feel like, unfortunately, that's the case a lot of times for women that are trailblazers. And as a trailblazer yourself for like this entire realm, what are some of like, what does advocacy mean for you in that space?
You know, I think the biggest thing for me is just, I always tell people, you know, we all have one life to live. We're all unique individuals. You can't tell me how to live my life, and I can't tell you how to live my life. In fact, if we sat here and we just talked to each other and we openly mindedly talk to each other, I can learn so much from you and you can learn so much from me. And so I always tell, like, you know, the younger kids around me or whoever I'm coaching that, like, for one, you always need to have fun with whatever you're doing. If you have a passion, chase it. It doesn't matter what people are going to say to you. Like, you're going to fail, find a way to get right back up, because it's not the only thing to do, you know. But the thing is to stay true to what's in your heart. And I feel like if you do that, you're going to live a happy life. You're going to, like, achieve goals. You're going to succeed in things that people didn't even believe you were going to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking of things that people may not have believed you were capable of doing, what is a bantamweight?
A bantamweight?
Yes.
So it's a division. So it's 135 pounds is what I fight at.
Yep.
So being the bantamweight champion, it just kind of separates, like, I'm the UFC champion, but if everybody was like, hey, the UFC champion, there's different divisions. So it's like, okay,
right.
which division are you? So 135 pounds is bantamweight.
Okay, perfect. Congratulations, by the way, because when I was searching, I said, I can't quite figure out what it is. So I'm just going to ask. But what was it like? Because I know that was like a little bit of a lengthier fight, or I think it was like 17, 20 minutes. Is that right?
25.
Yeah, so it was a little bit longer.
I don't know who came up with these rules.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Right, and I feel like, yeah, that's a long time to fight anybody. So what allows you to carry through when you have to go for such a long time?
For one, preparation. You go through, me personally, I've been in the sport for 14 years. I do not like long camps. You put me in a long camp, and what I mean by a long camp is anything past 8 weeks absolutely exhausts me. It's an emotional roller coaster. The injuries start creeping in. It just becomes draining. You could be midway through camp, and it's like, oh my goodness, can we just fight already? So I don't do well with long camps. If you call me on a short notice, those have been some of my best performances on 9-day notices, 3-week notices.
Yeah.
But usually we do like an 8-week camp. And so, I don't know, I just lost my train of thought on that. Going for a lengthy time.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it comes down to preparation. As long as you're prepared, the time really doesn't matter. But I mean, it is nerve-wracking. For this last fight specifically, I actually was really nervous. I got sick flying out to fight week. I put my poker face on, was doing all the things I needed to. But the morning of the fight, I woke up and normally it's an emotional roller coaster. You have, I can go from excitement to crying to I don't even know. I'm all over the board. You can talk to other athletes. They're puking. It's scary. You're getting ready to go get into a fight.
Right.
And then being on the biggest platform for the world title, there was a lot that went into it. But that morning I woke up and I had zero emotion. I was super sick. I actually, there's a difference when you, you feel sick and you can go sweat it out, as we would say, feel a little bit better, or you just need to rest. And this was one of those situations, my body was telling me everything I needed to rest, so I was completely flat. My wife, who fights in the UFC, she woke up, and she's like, oh, my gosh, happy fight day. How are you feeling? And as soon as I started talking, you can hear it. She freaked out, and so it just turned into a whole day of, actually trying to get my mind right and deciding, how deep I could dig and if we can stay into the fight. And so the fight, I felt like I can go out there and I could knock this chick out and I could put on a performance that, was going to be so impressive for me because I was doing it in the gym, and then I can show the world something different, becoming a champion. But then it turned into, we're standing in the octagon, they're announcing us, and I've never been so present in an arena. I'm just looking around and talking to the coaches, no emotions, and they're like, hey, listen, we don't care how long this has to go. We know she's going to get tired, so drag her into deep waters, which is the championship rounds, 4th and 5th round. And they're like, and then just win the title. The next fight could be completely different. Yeah. So that was the game plan. But then, it sounds like a great game plan. It sounds like an exhausting game plan. But at the same time, I was nervous because I couldn't breathe. I felt like I had razor blades in the back of my throat. I thought I had strep throat.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to breathe doing this. So I would have preferred not to go that long. But circling back, it all just comes down to preparation.
Right.
My body was prepared. And my mind was prepared. Obviously, I needed it to be. So
right. How much of it would you say is mental versus physical when you're in a fight?
So it's an extremely physical sport, but I always tell everybody it's 90% mental, 10% physical.
Yeah. And what kind of mental preparation do you normally do outside of when you're sick?
So for me, I do a lot of journaling when I'm by myself. Usually at nighttime, I kind of recap my day. It's just bullet point journaling. I do 3 things that I'm grateful for. I do 2 things that I was completely successful for, and 1 thing that I can really focus on and kind of, work harder at. And then I do a ton of sports psychology throughout camp. I do gyrostim and dynavision. It's brain training pretty much. So a lot of people, they forget, they go into the gym and they're doing all this work, and yeah, the physical aspect's great, but we forget to train our minds, and that's super important. So I've taken the time to do that. I do hyperbaric chamber for a lot of recovery. Then it provides more oxygen to your brain. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. And transitioning a little bit more into like your personal life, do you do a lot of grounding work like journaling and things like that, or is it primarily just that?
No, I do a lot of journaling. I really enjoy journaling. I like to read. I like spending time with my family. I'm huge with my family. So if I'm not in the gym or outdoors, I'm with my family. Like, I grew up having all these friends, but then it turned into like, I love my family.
Yeah.
So we're always having get-togethers, and that's like, that's a mental reset for me. And then being a mom, having my baby, like, that's a mental reset. It's draining, it's exhausting, but it's a mental reset as well.
I've heard you say in interviews that this last year has been the best year of your life. Do you want to share what some of has made it that way?
Just having the baby, my wife and I, we've been together since 2016 now, and we finally decided to take the leap with our relationship. We got married. We wanted to have like an actual wedding and ceremony. That'll come later, just because with our lifestyle and our careers, like, we have not been able to. If it's not me in fight camp, it's her in fight camp, or something else is going on. And then just having the baby, we decided to start the process. So we fought, I think it was 21 or 22, we fought on the same card. And that's the one that I got a 9-day notice on. And she was like, hey, listen, if I win this fight, I'm right there. I'm going to keep going. If I don't, then I want to try for a baby. And it was like, okay. And I mean, to the judge, she won the fight. Yeah. But I mean, you know how it goes in sports. Like, you don't leave it to the judges. So then it was just like, you technically won that fight. Like, do you want to try again? She's like, no, I want to have a baby. So we went through the process, and just going through the entire thing. Like, IVF is such a unique journey. We did reciprocal IVF. So I actually went through egg retrieval, and then we transferred the embryo into her, and just like watching the whole process, and then the emotional roller coaster of it, the excitement, gender reveal, all the different things. Like, it was just all these like highs. It just kept climbing. And then of course the baby came, and I mean, I don't know, 2 weeks before the baby was born, I remember having like this emotional breakdown with my mom. And she was just like, you're going to be a great mom. You're a great godparent. You're a great aunt. Like, it's going to be great. And it was just like, I don't know what's stressing me out. But she was like, hey, it's the biggest commitment of your life. Right. Like, you can't give them back after this. Yeah. And so I was really nervous. But then that night, holding her for the first time, like, it just completely changed my life. And it changed my mind in fighting and in every aspect of my life. Like, I'm the one to teach her to be brave and be courageous and be strong. So the emotions that I have in fighting, sometimes as an athlete, we forget that it's not who we are. It's just a passion of ours. When you're super passionate about what you do, you can take it all in, and it's like it almost defines you, but really it doesn't. Like, it gave me a different purpose in life, and then it took out those negative emotions. So I don't know. It's been a fun year.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, to say the absolute least, it's amazing. What has the transition into motherhood been like?
It's been interesting. So I was supposed to fight. I fought January before the baby. The baby, we were due June 10th. And then I fought in January. They called me, UFC called me, and they're like, hey, we want you to fight in May. And I was like, no, it's too close. Well, then I finally agreed. And then it just turned into this whole thing. And after the baby was born, I had to go home, talk to Tisha, because they called me. My fight got messed up in May. So then they wanted me to be a backup fighter for the world title fight June 9th. And I was like, my daughter's supposed to be born. I'm not missing that. Right. So I had to go home and talk to Tisha. We were going to do an induction, but then Alea decided to make her own appearance earlier than that. So 3 days after the baby was born, I had to go to Canada. And then just kind of coming home, it was all just so different, I just became a mom, but then I'm supposed to keep my mind right, but I'm wanting to be with my family. And then I had some time to come home, hang out, and adapt, and be absolutely exhausted, and no sleep, and all the things. And then I went through my first fight camp, and that was really interesting to navigate that. Yeah. Like, I mean, as an athlete, just as a person, I love sleep. Don't you love sleep?
I love sleep.
So, like, I don't function under 8 hours, but then as an athlete, like, I need the recovery. And coming home, it was just like, okay. So now I started sleeping in the guest bedroom. Tisha held down the fort. I went through my fight camp, And then now Tisha's in camp, so I'm playing mama, and she's in the guest bedroom. We're figuring it out as we go. But luckily, you know, being here in Colorado and having my whole family, we have a village, so they help us out.
And it truly does take a village. I couldn't imagine, like, I had to have somebody take my son so I could be here today. So it's, yeah, I think you can never understate the importance of having people around you that support you in your professional endeavors, in your personal endeavors. What would you say are some of your long-term and short-term goals? Like a 5-year goal and a 10-year goal, maybe.
I think for 5 years. So I said, I'm 35 now, and I said I was going to stop fighting at about 31, 32.
Okay.
And then that time frame came around.
Now you're a champion.
Like, yeah, it's like, okay, so it's kind of hard to say, but I definitely want to defend my title once or twice. I have a couple fights left in me. And then after that, Tisha and I want to open a huge gym, a huge sports recovery center. So that's probably our next goal. We're currently looking at property in the mountain. Once I don't have to travel back and forth to the gym every 2 hours, I want to be further into the mountains and just enjoy life out there, build our forever home. And then aside from that, like I've done a ton of investing. I own a ton of properties. I have a lot going on. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I want to hang out. I want to see we want more kids. I want to see what Alea's path looks like. Yeah. Hopefully it's athletics, but we'll support her in whatever sets her soul on fire. And then I'll tell you what, like if it's athletics and whatever sport she's in, like I just want to coach her. I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
So just enjoying life, hanging out, making the best of it, traveling. Yeah.
You imagine it might be fighting? Do you think, has she shown, I mean, she's very young, like a year or so, and has she shown any proclivities or?
So she'll be 1 in June. She's grown up in the gym so far. We want her to learn self-defense for sure. I do not want her to be a fighter. Yeah. I do not. So we'll see. But so far she looks really interested. Yeah. We go to sparring and she kind of she'll sit there and she'll hold on to the cage and she watches us spar. She's super chill at the gym. Like, so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I mean, her moms do it. I could only imagine it's probably like the coolest thing to her ever.
Right? Everybody keeps asking us if she's going to be the 2050 UFC champion. So.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy to think about. That would be really amazing, though. So would you say that, or what are some things that we don't know about you? So we know that but what else do we not know about you?
What don't you know about me? I don't know. Let's see. So obviously I'm born and raised here. Huge outdoors girl. If I love being in the gym, my profession is obviously fighting. I'm super family oriented. I love traveling. My favorite place in the world right now is currently Peru. Has my heart, but I want to continue exploring. I'm a super handy person, so I actually love flipping houses. Yeah. During COVID, Tisha went out and bought this. I wanted a camper van and to build out a camper van, in which we did. And I actually just bought another van and gutted it and getting ready to build that one out. But I was explaining I wanted a camper van, and she went out and bought this like Class A dinosaur RV. So during COVID, I taught her how to like flip that. I just enjoy doing stuff like that. Yeah. I love hunting, fishing, hiking, snowboarding, mountainboarding, ice climbing, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, backpacking. I don't know.
Well, you're in the perfect place for all of those things. Do you have like a favorite part of town that you like to go to? Are you a frequenter of any like parks or anything like that?
I like to explore everywhere. So, for quick trips or like to do some trail running, I usually go up into the North Cheyenne Canyon. Aside from that, like, I usually like to hit the small towns and then go past that and find all the little places, talk to a lot other locals, find the local spots, get away from the tourist attractions. And so, we're everywhere. Like, it just kind of depends if we wake up and what time we wake up and if we want to take a long drive, if we want to take a shorter drive. But, there is so much beauty in this place that, I don't know, it's kind of hard to stay in one place.
No, absolutely. And I appreciate that over the last few interviews we've been able to really talk about what a beautiful place that we live in, because it's easy to forget, like, being in the city. Yeah. Like, it's actually a really beautiful state that we live in. And you can do all of those things that you just listed here in the state. So,
correct.
Yeah, I really love that. You talked about your beautiful family and your life with your wife. Do you face any like additional difficulties being a queer woman in your space?
So when I went on to The Ultimate Fighter, it was interesting because, I mean, I grew up being a huge tomboy, and I think my mom was in denial for a very long time. Mm-hmm. In high school, everybody knew. They, like, knew of my girlfriend or whatever, but, like, at home, it wasn't something we spoke about. Mm-hmm. So when I went to The Ultimate Fighter, like, we're getting locked into a house. You're in there for 7 weeks. You have no phones, no music, no books, no magazines, no TV, no nothing. Like, it's reality TV. And they give you no choice but to interact with each other. And during that time, I was on the other show with other women mm-hmm. who were bisexual. But I remember the producer coming in one day, and he's like, hey, like, he was not having a good day. And he's like, my brother, like, tried to commit suicide. He's gay. He's struggling. Would any of you guys be willing to talk, like, on national TV about your lifestyle or whatever? And nobody was willing to do it. And it was just, for me, like, I was like, yeah, like, absolutely. Yeah. And the thing with reality TV is they can kind of make it whatever they want. Right. So that was my entire story. Mm-hmm. Like, I was just this lesbian chick. And, but it inspired a lot of people. But I remember when they did the premiere of my season and of my episode, we had a huge family gathering, and it was just like crickets in the house. It was awkward. Yeah. And my mom that night, she was like, listen, like, you disrespected your grandparents. And it was like, how did I disrespect anybody? Yeah. And a lot of it was based out of fear. You know, as human beings, we react out of either love or fear. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she was just like, I think she was worried about how the world was going to see me, and just being in a different place and stuff. But it was amazing because that actually opened up a different platform. I've traveled the world. I've done a lot of guest speakings for the LGBTQ plus community. The letters that I've received emails, I've received fan mail from like 75-year-olds and younger, just sharing their stories, sharing how they wish they would have, like, you know, followed their heart, and they've been living these lies all these years. And, like, man, the stories that I've received are, like, absolutely, like, they're devastating in a way, but they're super inspiring. Right. So, I mean, I don't know. It's like what I said before. As long as you stay true to who you are, like, everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to pass judgment. That's just the world we live in. But I don't care. Yeah. Like, I'm living my life to the best that is exactly what makes me happy. And, you know, the people I cross paths with, like, I'm inspiring them too. And with the UFC, like, there's a lot more women now who are in the same exact community. And but we do catch a lot of hate. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
But clearly you have a winning attitude. So, and yeah, I love that. I think having confidence in yourself inoculates you from a lot of hate, because a lot of times it comes from people not being secure within themselves. Yeah. So, yeah, it's been really great getting to sit down and talk to you. I was super excited to do so. I do have like a little this and that for you. It's super random questions that I just thought of before I got here. Uh-oh. So, no explanations. I'm just going to rapid fire this or that. Ready?
All right.
Okay. Broncos or Nuggets?
Nuggets.
Labor Day liftoff or Territory Days?
Labor Day. I'm a Labor Day baby.
KKTV or KOAA?
KKTV.
Manitou or Pueblo?
Oh, Manitou.
Skiing or hiking?
Hiking. Unless it was snowboarding.
Dancing or karaoke?
Karaoke.
Reading or writing?
Reading.
Going out or staying in?
Going out.
Cooking or eating out?
Cooking.
Dishes or laundry?
Oh. Laundry.
Winter or summer?
Oh, winter.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
All-inclusive resort or cruise?
I haven't done a cruise. All-inclusive resort.
Vacation or staycation?
What was it?
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
Cheyenne Mountain Zoo or Garden of the Gods?
Oh, that depends on my mood. We'll go with the zoo.
Okay, I would also pick the zoo. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. And thank you all for watching. It's been really great. Stay tuned for more of Meet the Locals. Again, this is Raquel Sorry. Raquel Rocky Pennington. I know your name. I didn't know which one to say first. I am so sorry.
No, you're
and
good.
Shay, as awkward as always.